By popular demand, Place to Be Nation Wrestling returns to the Dirty South for Talk'N WCW, an episodic wrestler showcase designed to educate, evaluate, and entertain, with matches spanning the intimate stage of Techwood Studios to the heights of Space Mountain. Talk'N WCW presents the best, worst, and most surreal offerings from World Championship Wrestling. So cast your gaze to the Turnertron with hosts Jennifer Smith, Tim Capel, and Greg Phillips.
Hi, welcome to Talk'N WCW. My name is Jennifer Smith. I'm here with the Drano to my liquid plumber, Tim Capel. How you doing, Tim?
Wow. We are two drain clearing removal products that don't work very well. So
Pipe
look
busting
at us.
bitches is what I like
Pipe,
to call us.
if only. Only. Uh, and the gosh, what actually works? I mean, like I said, listeners, off-air conversation we were having, I had very good results clearing my pipes with CLR. That's right, calcium, lime, and rust remover. Guess that's what
Greg could
makes
be.
this man, Greg Phillips. He's the calcium, lime, and rust remover from our lives, figuratively and literally. What are we doing?
That's the single nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. Sadly enough, that's the nicest
If you
thing.
have hard water, this man will solve it for you.
That's right. Hey,
Something.
for the
It's
right
been a
price,
long 2 days.
for the right price, I'll try and fail at almost anything.
All right. I will disappoint you. Never mind.
Yes, yes. CLR.
Well,
I'm glad I broke the show
try
very early on. So
if nothing works, try that. You might think I don't feel so good about putting this stuff into my pipes, but what's a good? I mean, it's not like it's not going to dissolve your pipes.
yeah, it'll be
If
fine.
anything,
It's
Don't worry
taking.
about it.
yeah.
Do you want?
It'll
calcium?
do nothing. Look, it'll do nothing, or it will totally work. Those are the only alternatives.
Do you? I mean, you don't want calcium in your pipes. You don't want.
No,
What's the R stand for? Rust.
rust.
You don't want rust in your
Which you
pipes.
probably wouldn't get unless you have metal pipes. But see, I think the issue is with these PVC pipes, they get a lot of calcium buildup. I want to say that was
like our arteries.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
clearly, yeah, in our
And the one,
buttholes.
and you damn sure. The one thing I know for certain, you don't want any lime in your pipes.
No limes.
Uh-uh.
Limes go in the coconut.
That's
That's
right.
what I hear.
Exactly.
Yeah, Seamus once warned us that there were too many limes.
Too many.
Too
So-
many.
And you know what that? Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what that leads to. Hard water, limes, calcium. It's the mess.
Liquid plumber.
Yeah,
Do you know what always bothered me about liquid plumber? The fact that
it doesn't work.
Well, they leave out letters on the logo.
Yeah.
They do.
It's liquid
Well, you know
plumber.
what? They kind of got to
For-
jump. They got to jump on that though. But this is the way of the social media apps.
That's
right?
true. You just leave out
True.
all the words.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah. It's crazy because like the it's almost like it's written the way that like Miley Cyrus sings with like the hard R sound, liquid plumber.
Not the hard
Mhm.
R's.
Yeah, the hard R. Wait a minute. Oh,
Can't tell you how many times I've looked for a little liquid plumber on Grinder. Okay,
Speaking
now
of
we've really
hard
just
R.
we've really gotten inappropriate.
Yeah, we have. Well, I feel
Ah,
like this
that's all
is
right.
appropriate for our topic of the podcast.
Yeah, we're talking my favorite liquid plumber,
That's
Tully
right.
Blanchard. Excuse me, Tullins Blanchard
Collins, thank you. York Foundation. Yes.
of the York Foundation. Yeah,
You did not just say that.
People
Tullins
don't realize that
Blanchard.
Collins Blanchard joined the York Foundation off screen and left off screen like a day
Mhm.
later. My head cannon.
Absolutely. I mean, they think he left. He went to WWF with Arn Anderson. They did the Brain Busters, and One of them came back, the other did not, that being Mr. Blanchard, but everybody just forgets about that York Foundation run,
Yeah,
right?
very conveniently forget about it. And also, Arnold Anderson was pitched to join, but he turned them down for some
Yeah,
reason.
he wasn't into it. Yeah.
They could have had.
I guess.
In my world, the entire organization would have joined the York Foundation, and there would have been no match.
Well, yeah.
You would have had Arnold Anderson. You would have had Alexander Luger. I don't know what you would have done with Sting, but come back to that later. Richard Flair. There's all kinds of people that could have joined and extended their names. Oh.
Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. It's the computerized wave of the future, right? Predicting all these matches. Everybody's got to get a piece.
And Terrence Taylor was the computerized man of the 90s, but they needed the tag team of the 90s. Richard and I don't know what they were done with Scott.
Richard Flair and Tully Blanchard.
Tully Blanchard, yeah.
Tully Blanchard.
Yes. Yeah. He was a hell of a man, that Tully. A man that was never afraid to let his chest hair grow out. A man that just a man that represented Crockett era wrestling better than almost any other.
Tough son of a bitch, right?
Yeah. When you mention it, do you think that he just was not someone predisposed to growing back hair, or do you think he did shave his back hair? Like he totally had as much back hair as he had chest hair.
I'm assuming he just shaved his back.
You think so?
Happened to grow chest hair, but I have met people that only grow for some unknown chest hair, back hair. Lucky people they may be, and
wow.
and no, I think Tully probably shaved.
He was a back hairsman.
Yes, I think so.
How does one shave their own back?
No, well, I say shave, but he would have had assistants. I mean,
yeah,
sure.
Dark Journey or
who
was the other woman that accompanied him to ringside? I don't know. Anyway, one of them.
JJ. Shit. Why do I keep saying her real name, Nicola? God damn it. Baby doll.
Baby doll shaved back.
Why did I blank on Baby
Doll? His most famous valet, and I completely blanked on her.
Jesus. Yes, her real name is Nicola Ann Roberts. Nicola Ann Roberts Bird, excuse me. Yeah, she has a hyphenated last name.
Is she related to the Roberts clan of
Julia Roberts?
Well, I was referring to Jake Roberts and
that Roberts, of course.
I guess they're actually the Smiths, so maybe not.
Well, okay. Her parents, Nick Roberts and Lorraine Johnson, were professional wrestlers and promoted weekly events at the Fair Park Coliseum in Lubbock, Texas. So, I mean, local wrestling family. Maybe some
Yep.
Yeah, with the Von Erichs. Okay.
Yeah. So
anyway, talking Baby doll.
Point being, he had many other seconds that could have shaved his back.
Yeah, I think she would definitely be taking care of that.
That's a terrible job.
Well, James J. Dillon was probably doing it too.
Yes.
Well, that's better. I like that better.
An all-purpose manager to the Four Horsemen, which I want to get into his role in some of these matches we're going to talk about as well. But yeah, you've got options. Hell, look, Dusty and Tully had a very extended on and off again feud. They probably took care of each other on the road.
That's
shaved each other's unreachable parts. As long as you kept it kayfabe out of sight of the fans, why not?
There, as a wise man once told me, there's no problem with getting your needs met on the road.
Right.
And that's just called being a good brother.
And shaving that back, that's a need that these wrestlers would have in the
shaving that back and strutting that ass.
Yeah, strutting that ass. You won't be strutting that ass.
Yeah, if you don't shave your back, you won't be.
And if you do try to shave your own back, you'll be so goddamn fucking tired, you still won't be strutting that ass.
No way you'll reach Gunnersville, that's for sure.
No. You won't see the matches at the Arsenal. God, why are we bringing back 13, 15-year-old memes?
Because it's great. That's what we do.
This is a very unhinged edition of
This
Talk'N
might,
WCW
Yeah.
believe it or not, this might be our most unhinged yet.
already.
Like fucking 35 episodes in, or whatever the hell
Yeah.
we're at now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say 35 episodes in. I'm a little bit ashamed it's taken us this long to get to old Tully. This was my pick, and he's been on my short list for a while. It's just like he seems like he just kept getting bumped, right? And I'm gonna be honest, part of that is I had a fear, and this fear, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, was somewhat validated that we would have a hard time finding matches that are readily available because we've been over this before. Stuff that used to be out there in a little section called Hidden Gems on a little app called the WWE Network no longer exists. So we had a time. It wasn't so much selecting the matches we wanted to do, but in some cases finding these damn matches.
Mm-hmm.
You would think, okay, well, all right, not on the network / Peacock anymore, so probably you could track it down on your YouTube, on your Daily Motion. No,
No.
some of
No.
these were tough. No, they were tough. But we do have our ways and means. Look, I'm just going to come around and say I have done a complete reversal on my position of we should really only watch matches that are easy to find because I'm
Mm-hmm.
just done with it now because all of these matches should be easy to
Yes.
find. And once upon a time, they were. And
And you know,
if these bastards, if these damn bastards won't even let me pay them to watch the matches, which I have demonstrated I am perfectly willing to do, have been willing to do since 2014, almost 10 years now, the launch of the network. They giveth and they taketh away. I'm done. I don't care. I will find the match if it exists. If I want to talk about it, if I want to choose it, I think you guys should do the same, and we'll make it happen. If folks listening want to watch along with us, watch these matches we choose, they're having a hard time finding them, hit me up. Just hit me up. We'll hook you up.
we'll find a
Okay?
way.
Yeah.
Bro,
Don't
if
worry about
they
it.
don't want to share their wrestling with us, bro,
Yeah.
if the bastards, the no good, bald headed son of a bitches at Peacock don't want to put up the hidden gems anymore, screw them, bro.
Well said. Well said.
So
Course,
as a
the
result,
conflict
all
in
of our
that.
matches are not gonna be
Pretty much
on Peacock
right.
No,
for this episode.
I have noticed
inexplicably,
that.
because they
Yeah.
I could write a story.
Again, two of them used to, at least two of them used to be.
Yes,
All
100%.
three of them might have been. I'm not sure about Jenny, your pick, but
No, I
still.
verified two of them used to
Um,
be because I looked it up online and found stories about when they got uploaded
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
to the old
So
net.
I don't know. I guess maybe people who have the international version of still the network, although I have heard their interface has changed once again.
Oh no.
I heard a rumor that it's looking a lot more like Peacock these days.
Oh gosh.
The people who actually do have the proper network itself, so they might be screwed as well. I don't know. All I know is, like I said, if you want to watch these matches, you can't find it, we'll find it for you. All right,
Mm-hmm.
that's my guarantee.
Damn right.
Okay. With all that being said, who's up first? We've got, I believe,
I think
you,
me.
Greg.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for my pick, one of you mentioned, I'll preface this with a bit of a tale, not really a tale, just an anecdote
Okay.
about so Tully Blanchard's
More
one.
of an anecdote than a tale. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe more of just a little snippet of an anecdote. I don't know. Anyway,
I see.
Tully 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 Tullence Blanchard, as I was
Tully Bullets.
was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Like legitimately still is. Like he's
Wow.
he predated, like when I was first watching wrestling, he was around, but I didn't really like appreciate him because I was 4 or 5 or whatever. And then, the Brain Busters I liked in the WWF a lot. And then going back and watching old Crockett tapes when I was a kid, he always stood out to me. He always popped out as like this great wrestler that shone even in matches that had bigger stars perhaps in them. And I think he's a guy that hasn't always gotten his just due because he disappeared from the business pretty much. And until AEW a couple years ago, he had not really been seen in mainstream wrestling for decades. And so he's a guy that if you watch old tapes, he just does all the things that you say to me modern audiences about Randy Orton kind of apply, in my opinion, to
Okay.
that's I drew a comparison between them even when Orton was first coming up with his Intercontinental title run in 2004 or whatever, that he clearly had studied tapes of Tully Blanchard, because Tully was that guy who was just wasn't going to wow you. He wasn't going to do, any crazy high flying stuff. He wasn't going to have the panache of Ric Flair. He wasn't going to have the hard times promo of Dusty Rhodes. But all he did was he just did everything well. He bumped well. He sold well. He threw great punches. He had an awesome offense. He had a great finishing move. He looked good. He had good promos. He was just a complete. He knew his role. He knew his job was to go in there and get the baby faces over, and he did it better than, other than Ric Flair, better than anyone of that era, in my opinion. Like, to me, I always look back at him as being the best wrestler that Crockett had that wasn't Ric Flair. And maybe you could throw Barry Windham in that argument as well, but like he was just so good. And I find it atrocious that it's so hard to find these matches. And then the other aspect that I realized, because a lot of his singles matches escaped my purview as a kid, I watched mostly his pay-per-view matches and his tag team matches. As I was looking through online databases, Cage Match and some other ones as well, I was having a hard time finding like what singles matches stood out, what singles matches people thought were great, because I didn't want to just pick Tully and Arn matches, because we'll probably do an entire episode on Tully and Arn as a tag team at some point. But eventually I found this was like either his second or third highest rated match on Cage Match by people that have taken the time to rate it, which aren't many, but everybody seemed to rave about this. And this comes to us from the Great American Bash Tour of 1986. And it is, I believe, from July 5th of 1986. It is a taped fist.
It's in Charlotte.
Yes, a in Charlotte, and it's a taped fist match in which the world television title is not on the line, but a bunch of cash is. And it's Tully Blanchard, of course, who is the reigning television champion, with J.J. Dillon in his corner, taking on Hands of Stone, Ron Garvin, with Wahoo McDaniel in his corner. And as the ring announcer aggressively tells us before the match, this is a taped fist contest, and the rules are that there are 10 3-minute rounds, and of course it's going to be under boxing rules, but with a taped fist or what have you. Now, interestingly about this is neither Ron Garvin nor Tully Blanchard are professional boxers.
No,
they are
they're not.
So that I found that to be interesting. Secondly, about this is normally in wrestling, and I don't mean to offend our British listeners but I've never been a big fan of rounds in wrestling. Like, it's a hard thing to pull off. Like, not that I've seen some great British wrestling matches and stuff, but it's a difficult thing for me to decompartmentalize what I've seen wrestling as my whole life and like view it other way with rounds and stuff like that. So it's a challenge for me as a viewer. That said, I thought this was interesting because while they're not professional boxers, they're two of the best throwers of hands in pro wrestling from their era, or maybe from all time. And so basically this is exactly what you would expect it to be. Tully is the heel who people want to see get his comeuppance. Ron Garvin is this badass babyface who's known for knocking people out. And so from the moment, the best part is right before the match even starts, as if there's any illusion this is going to be an actual boxing match, Tully tries to jump Garvin from behind. Garvin ducks it, back body drops him, and then Tully stands up and gets knocked out before the match even begins.
Yeah, I just now saw it. I'm watching the match back, and it gave me a chuckle. It's great. I mean, right before the bell, Tully just gets walloped. It does a great sell job.
Takes that
It's
great
tremendous.
Tully Blanchard flat back bump, like
Mm-hmm.
one of the best. And so the referee has to revive Blanchard alongside JJ to get the match.
JJ is so flustered.
And as soon as the bell rings, Garvin's just all over him.
Mm-hmm.
Garvin is just wearing his ass out, knocking him down
Mm.
repeatedly, backing him into a corner where Tully can just hold his hands up trying to block. And the minute that Tully tries to block his head, Garvin nails him with a right hand right to the gut and doubles him over. Working the body, working the head, just as you know, it's important to work the head, and he does that in this match as well. And he knocks him down to the canvas multiple times. And what becomes I was so impressed with the timing in this, because they managed to time it up where every time Garvin knocks Tully out, it's right before the end of the round. So Tully gets saved by the bell like 3 times in a row, where the round ends and the referee says, okay, round over. We have a 30-second rest period. And that gives JJ 30 seconds to come in with his towel and a bucket of water and try to revive Tully from being knocked unconscious multiple times. So this, of course, serves multiple purposes. Number one, it's entertaining to watch. Number two, it's Tully making the babyface, which was his role. Like, Tully is he is not concerned about looking like a clown. He's not concerned about whether he looks cool or not. All he's concerned about is the way the audience views this is Ron Garvin has knocked out Tully Blanchard 4 straight times. So that's what his goal is, and it's beautiful. It's amazing wrestling heel work. And then finally, I believe it's in the 4th round that Tully, maybe the 3rd round, that Tully gets the advantage finally, and he does this with a wrestling move where he grabs Garvin's trunks and pulls him into the post, and Garvin struggles to get back into the ring. When he does, Tully's all over him, and Tully's offense, yes, he's throwing great punches, really great punches, but his offense is largely pro wrestling stuff, like mounting him and, body slams him at one point, and he's jumping all over him with wrestling heel tactics. And the referee, and I must say, a very ineffective refereeing job.
Oh my.
At one point, Garvin starts headbutting.
By the referee of the year, right?
Yeah,
Young here.
Garvin's throwing headbutts in the corner to Tully, and Tommy goes, hey, no headbutts, no headbutts. And he headbutts him again after he says that, and Tully falls to the mat, and the ref starts counting him out. I don't blame JJ. I think JJ had a legitimate point here when he's saying he just headbutted him. You can't count him out for that. But then, contrarily, when Tully body slams him, and he goes, no body slams, no wrestling moves, Tully. And so they do this repeatedly, and each time the round ends, though, only once does Garvin get saved by the bell. There's one time where Garvin's in trouble, and the bell rings, and Wahoo has to come in and revive him. But then towards the end of the match, JJ, who does a great job. I think I said this in an early version of our podcast. I was never a big JJ Dillon fan. I have to admit, this episode gave me some new appreciation for He hands Tully the loaded black glove, which Tully uses on Garvin. No, I'm sorry, I'm mixing my matches up. My mistake. That comes in a later match. But he comes in and he helps.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Don't worry.
He retapes Tully's right fist.
Yeah.
And Tully gets the advantage on Garvin for a moment. Garvin comes back on. They're both bleeding buckets at this point. Tully gets to the outside and climbs to the top and jumps off for what I assume is a flying punch of some kind. And Garvin nails him out of midair with a punch of his own, and they both collapse in a heap. And so the ref begins his 10 count, and he gets to 10, and both guys are out. And so the ref goes, and I have to admit, I've never seen this happen in boxing. But the referee goes over to the ring announcer and says, the first man to his feet will be the winner. And so he begins his 10 count again, and JJ gets in the ring with his towel. Remember, he's already used the bucket of water earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets in the ring with his towel, and he's trying to wake Tully up from his slumber. And Wahoo, while the referee is trying to admonish JJ, Wahoo gets in, throws the bucket of water on Garvin, which resuscitates him, and the crowd goes nuts as Ron Garvin reaches his feet, wins the contest, wins the money, and JJ is throwing a fit because of all the water in the ring. He said, "Look, the ring's soaking wet." The damn fool says, "I don't know anything about that, JJ. I don't know anything about that." Bad refereeing, but a great match.
Very biased officiating in this
Yes.
match for sure.
Yes.
And great match. I might be pushing it with great, but it was very entertaining.
It was great.
And I think that's probably one of the best of that kind of match I've seen in wrestling. I've seen it done.
Yeah.
It was certainly a hell of a lot better than Mr. T versus Roddy Piper. So
I think it was better than the worked MMA match we saw at SummerSlam as well here recently.
But was it better than boxer versus wrestler at Uncensored 95?
I was going to ask you that question, Jenny.
Yeah,
of course it wasn't. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
classic match.
I do think that match took some things from this one though. In terms of like the
Arn took the bucket gimmick, but he put it on his fucking head.
Yeah, the bucket, right?
Old Buckethead,
Yeah.
Old Buckethead. Old minnow bucket.
I enjoyed the physicality. I enjoyed the Tully's heel bumps were just tremendous.
Yeah.
Garvin is kind of a strange looking man, so it's always interesting to watch him. And
yes, it is.
And I just loved how their stuff connected. Everything looked like it was connecting, and the punches were solid. Tully is, Garvin's got the reputation, but Tully especially to me throws some of the best like working punches of any wrestler this day. They were great. Even when he came back in AEW a couple years ago and had that one match with FTR, 6-man match, he was still throwing some really good punches even at his advanced age. And so I'm a big Tully fan. I thought this was a real good demonstration. One of the things I liked about our 3 matches is they're 3 very different matches, and I think it showed the versatility of Tully. And we didn't even get into his tag team stuff, which is obviously great. So yeah, just a great match, a quintessential heel performance, and left the audience wanting more because now they know that Garvin can beat his ass, so now they want to see Garvin win that belt from him.
Well, he really did beat his ass, but like I felt like Tully still, it wasn't like a beat down. You know what I'm saying? Tully still fucking held his own. Like, even though he did get his ass whooped for most of the time, I never felt like he couldn't come back at any moment.
Right.
Until the end when he just got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
they both got knocked out. So
yeah, true. But like, very interesting match as far as the rounds go. I'm kind of like you. I'm a little iffy on that whole gimmick, but you got the taped fist and they're short rounds, and I like the punches here. Like, I was actually really into the punches because, like you said, they're both really good at it. With lesser punchers, if that's the thing, you could not do this. You could not pull this off. Not any 2 guys can do this, but these 2 can. And I'd like this as a gimmick, I think, for modern day wrestling too. I'd like to see this maybe somewhere. That would be fun if you can get guys that can punch.
Guys that can punch, right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
So
but this is so old school. They're in like a football stadium. There's grass on the sides. When they fall, they're falling onto grass. So it has this real gritty feeling to it too. And the crowd's super into it. It just feels old school and great. Tully grabs the bucket and dumps it on his own head at one point, which I thought was great.
Yeah. Which cost him later.
Yeah, it would. Yes. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was fantastic.
Old school and great, I think really sums it up. Tully's selling is so on point, and he is also a great working puncher, right? So this match totally plays to his strengths. He takes a great ass whipping. And I think the reason this works is they know at the end of the day it's professional wrestling. Yeah, this is boxing rules, but it's going to be in the confines of a professional wrestling environment. So it's worked in a way that it's more like the type of boxing match, or taped fist match, I suppose you would see in a movie, right? You know, they're
Mhm.
all just laying into each other with these punches. There's no blocks. There's no boxing strategy going on here. So that helps move it along. The
It
short
does.
rounds also kind of are good for pacing purposes as well. Um, and I just love all the smoke and mirrors in this match. I mean, in the gimmicks galore. Every time Tully goes down, there's JJ in with, if it's not the bucket of water, the smelling salts, the towel, just everything coming out. We do get some color in this as well. Tully takes, possibly hard way. I mean, Ron Garvin was not known for pulling his punches,
No.
I
and
cannot imagine so.
guys did not always love working with him. So we get not quite the crimson mask, but the scarlet forehead here on Tully as the match progresses. Um, but it's just got a lot to offer here, and you can tell that this match is something that it is pure fan service for this event. It's unlike a TV match where you're going to have the heel really get a lot of heat and force the babyface to make a comeback, and it's going to be time for commercials and all that. This is like the complete opposite. This is heel in peril, if
Mhm.
anything. It's the crowd is eating it up because they just love seeing Tully get his ass beat. That's something he does very well, and something that, uh, based on his character, is always very deserved.
Yeah.
Um, so they love seeing it, and it has the type of finish that's incredibly safe because no title on the line. You can
Mhm.
put Garvin over pretty much clean, even though there is kind of that iffy finish, first man to his feet, yada yada. But still, these fans are going to go home happy. Like, no matter else, whatever else happens on the show, they're going to see how about that Ron Garvin Tully Blanchard match, right?
Mm.
That's purely what this exists for, and they kill it. They really do. Um, yeah, I got a lot of joy out of this one, and apparently they were working this match on the circuit on this 1986 Great American Bash tour. They have a rematch later on, that I believe, do I have a date for that? Was the 26th, um, of 1986. So still the same Great American Bash tour. That one takes place in Greensboro. So, and it's basically like, I say it's a rematch, but it's sort of like how house shows were back then, where you would just work the same match literally over and over. It's just same spots essentially, maybe some minor nuances here and there where you might do some fine tuning, but it's just the same match run back basically. So if you like this and want to see another version of it, there's that July 26th edition of this Great American Bash tour as well. So great pick, Greg. Good stuff. I like it.
Me too.
Excellent.
All right. We've got, moving right into 1987. I think, Jenny, we've got your pick up next.
Is mine next?
I
Hmm.
believe so. May 10th,
That's
87.
All right. I guess I don't know how dates work.
hey, yeah, I don't know
Well,
either.
the next one is in July, and I'm relatively
Okay.
sure July is after
Okay. That works
May
out better then.
still.
I think your match is a better closer. But I forgot to write the fucking date down. You said the 10th?
Yeah, the 10th of 87. This was from, honestly, Greg, you might want to help me out. A show I didn't know existed. What is WCW Sunday Edition? Was this something that
I
got replaced by one of those syndicated shows later
I
on?
have no idea. I was 3 obviously at the time, but
Yeah.
I don't know of this being a thing either. I've never heard of this before ever. Like I
Oh, really?
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
no, we were really thrown because like their Saturday lineup was what they would do World Championship Wrestling at 6:05 whatever TBS, but they also had Worldwide and
and
what
pro.
was it, Pro. I was like, I always get Pro and Prime mixed up, but Pro, yeah, that was their Saturday sort of offering, the kind of the flagship show, and then syndicated gimmicks. But I have never heard of this Sunday edition
I'm wondering
thing,
if it may have been a regular edition of World Championship Wrestling, but that
and
had
they bumped it or something.
I believe it may have been possibly it was what date was this? May 10th.
May 10th,
Yeah.
87.
So it's possible it was preempted for some sort of sporting event the night before because during this match they're advertising like Game 5 of Lakers versus
Oh, that's
uh,
right.
Yeah.
Lakers
Yep.
versus the Warriors for the playoffs or whatever, the NBA playoffs. So there may have been a game the previous night that caused them to delay the wrestling show until the next day. So
All
maybe
right. Well, that's cool. I feel kind of like, wow, because usually y'all know everything about everything.
No, I mean, like when it comes to the TV shows, I'm like, oh, okay, this is this show, this is that show, and I'm like, wait a minute, Sunday edition, what? So
So
this
in
is
the
like somebody watching Thursday Raw Thursday, right, for the
right.
yeah,
first time, going, what?
this is the
When was
first of
Raw
all
on Thursday?
Thursday and the two Thursdays, but nonetheless, no, but yeah, this is actually this WCW Sunday edition was actually where they would start it out. I believe they opened it with Tom Brokaw at the beginning. Uh,
Oh, very good.
Sunday edition of World.
Oh, got the big guns for the
So
Sunday
it's like,
show.
so it's a studio setting, and with a really loud crowd for Barry Windham, who is Tully's opponent in this match, and it's for the World TV title. I love me some Barry Windham, and in the
Mm-hmm.
spirit of, like Greg said, I know there's some absolute classic tag team matches, but also like Greg, I was looking for more singles stuff, and so this is the one that I found, and also in the spirit of, I doubt this is on Peacock. You can find it on YouTube if you search for it. So pretty easy to find. I'm gonna just go ahead and say the fucking finish because
You know, I
I
was surprised you
you
picked
picked
this
this
match
match.
because yeah,
I know,
you gotta
but
yeah smarten us up here.
it's a time limit draw, okay? But
Hmm.
in spite of that, I'll tell you why I liked it. Uh, for there's a lot of Barry love, which is fun. And
Go Barry, go!
go
Go!
Barry, go! It's
Yes, sir.
like Barry. It just sounds like me at a GCW show, like just screaming above the crowd. And so Barry knocks Tully out early. He just runs around the side, healing it up. JJ comforts him a little bit. They reset. Lots of punching and slapping. We just talked about his punches. I feel like Barry's punches maybe a little bit below the Ron Garvin line as far as punching, but still they do well with punching.
Very good. I thought, yeah, still, so.
And there's commercial breaks in this. So we cut to commercial. We return to them trying some submission moves in the middle of the mat there. Not very exciting, but it eats up some of your 20-minute time limit. So you got to have the submission moves. Barry goes for the test of strength, and it leads to some good punches by him, a drop kick, and then he gets a cover for two. Tully fires up, chokes Barry over the top rope or the bottom rope, and then does some punches over in the corner. But he eats a lariat from Barry, a good looking lariat
Mm-hmm.
for two for that one, while JJ tries to distract the ref a little bit. Wyndham grabs a sleeper hold, and he holds it for a while, like a
Hmm.
hot minute, and then he just tumbles them both out of the ring to break the
Still,
sleeper hold.
still holding the sleeper when they land. I believe.
Yeah,
That was,
That was an interesting little touch that you don't,
it was. It
because you
was.
always think these moves are so easy to break when they just do any little thing, but
Hmm.
I always kind of like when they hang on even
yeah,
through
too.
a little bit of adversity.
Yeah, Tully is a hanger oner. That's what he does. Like I just feel like he works through some of this stuff. Like he doesn't he doesn't just let you get away with it. They come back from another commercial to Bear Windham working Tully over in the corner. Now JJ wants to slip him a shoe, classic JJ move. He smacks Barry Windham, and he goes down hard, but he still only gets two on that, but he gets it twice. Barry kicks out of the shoe spot twice, so that's not going to work this time. Uh, So Tully tries the suplex. Let's try that. And then gets a elbow drop for 2. Then he throws Barry to the floor, and when he comes out to follow him up, he gets a backdrop on the floor for his troubles. So it's like move counter move really through most of this match. He does the an inside suplex on Tully back in the ring while JJ paces around trying to find another spot to interfere. But Barry doesn't really give him a lot of chances. Really, JJ's pretty. Aside from a couple things, he's pretty negated in this match, which is surprising because I feel like he's always one who, not always, but I feel like he influences that outcome of a lot of, heel. Barry hits a great power slam for 2, and then this is where your "Go Barry Go" chants really fire up. He gets a big delayed suplex for 2 with 1 minute left in the match, and this is when I start going, ah, fucking hell, I picked a fucking draw, didn't I? I already knew that, but I was like, ah, shit. They punch some more. There's a atomic drop on Tully, a drop kick for another 2 um, for Barry, but then Tully reaches up to rake the eyes to get out of that. Wyndham punches Tully over the top rope. He just punches him straight the fuck out of the ring. And they're just trading punches on the outside on the floor when the bell rings. So that's it. Your time limit's over. But no, they just ignore all of that. And this is why I like this. They just ignore the bell. They ignore everything else. The ref trying to stop the match. And they just keep fighting. And they just keep fighting. They fight till the cameras go off. Right? So as we leave, Tully is still not down, even though it's a time limit draw. So I like the ending there. It was just really 2 guys really just grinding out this match. And I like their chemistry. I like the effort. It just felt like again that old school studio style that I
Yeah.
What did
I,
you
I
make of?
see your I see your point, Jenny, that this finish is kind of forgivable because the fact that the time runs out is kind of irrelevant because they could have done what they did and just, it could have been like a double count out, right?
mhm mhm
Um, I think your frustration, and correct me if I'm wrong, your frustration probably comes in when they do that time limit draw as more of a fuck finish, right? Where
yes
I
yes
would expect like Barry Windham hits his big lariat or whatever, totally has the match won, and goes to cover Tully. Oh no, the bell rang, time ran. Like that's how they typically do those, especially for these World Television Championship, time limit draws where
exactly
they always tease that, you're gonna see a title change and it's just nope, that's it. It was just you know, they just successfully defended the title. That's the champion's advantage, right?
mhm
So that's how they would book these things, but totally not the case here, where they spill out of the ring, they're brawling. Um, it didn't matter that the time run out; they were going to do that anyway, and
yeah,
probably
they
going to
just
get
didn't
counted
care.
out. Yeah, probably going to get the match thrown out. So yeah, it kind of works. I totally get it, and yeah, this is a really as a TV studio style match for television, great example of that. Um, and I love the sprint, like in that last minute,
Me
where
Mm-hmm.
too.
they're breaking out the suplexes and everything. Um, and I like JJ here. I think he is used to good effect. It's kind of like the shoe does come into play twice, and then he's sort of at a loss for what to do next because he's
Mhm.
like, well, I got to kind of pick my spots. I got away with it twice. So dare I try for a third? It's sort of he's crafty that way. And when it comes to James J. Dillon, he is going to be a common denominator throughout all of our matches that we're looking at. And Greg, I know you said you weren't always the biggest fan of his. Um, I think what I appreciate, especially when it comes to the Tully Dillon relationship,
Mm.
is that Dillon is like the complete manager. He is not just the business manager of the Four Horsemen, which they very much needed, right? They needed someone to be organized, to be level-headed while they're on the road partying, uh, you know, basically life imitating art. They needed him in every sense of the word and at every capacity that he served as their uh, business manager. And for Tully, see, most of the other horsemen, they didn't need a James J. Dillon out there accompanying them in the actual matches. Ric
Mhm.
Flair certainly didn't need it. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, Dillon would be out there sometimes with him, but Ric Flair did not need a manager at ringside, right? That's not what you think of when you think of great Ric Flair performances. The Andersons, right? Arn and Ole, in the original version of the Horsemen, they did not need a manager at
Mhm.
ringside.
Mhm.
Tully kind of did, right?
Mhm.
He needed not just the business manager, but the ringside valet in whatever form that took. Not only to give him that extra edge, but because his character was a little bit unlike the other horsemen in that he kind of he kind of played himself. He kind of portrayed himself as this badass, don't fuck with me. But at heart, he's more of a chicken shit heel,
Yes.
right? He doesn't like to get hit. That's his character. He's kind of a pussy. He can hold his own, but he would much rather not get his ass beat, even though that's what's gonna happen. And I think Dillon just complimented that so much because it's like he knows, oh, Tully needs a lot more, TLC than these other guys. So I got to go out there with him. He's got to introduce all the gimmicks, right? He's got to do all the little spots. And I think he really added a lot to these performances and to the Tully Blanchard character, who, don't get me wrong, I like a lot, but is just complemented so much more by having that presence at ringside. It just suited him so much better than the other horsemen.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a nice pairing, and I think a lot of what I didn't like about Dylan throughout my most of my wrestling fandom, looking back, was, well, a lot of it was he felt superfluous at times because of what you're talking about. He was A lot of the
Hmm.
matches I saw him in were at ringside for Flair or ringside for Horseman multi-man matches, and he was mainly just there gesticulating at ringside. And also, I grew up more watching, the more over the top managers like Heenan and
Yeah, yeah.
Jimmy Hart, people like that. So he seemed
Well, and
bland.
Cornette, who was always such a clown.
Yeah,
I mean, just
yeah. So, but now I have gained appreciation for what he brought to the table, and especially that pairing with Tully is great. What did you guys make of referee Scrappy McGowan?
yes.
Scrappy.
Is he
Scrappy,
a King of the Hill character?
to me, he looked like the lost member of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yeah, that
Okay,
haircut
yeah,
had something
that works.
else going on with it.
It was, or perhaps like that Tom Petty character. He was an interesting cat, and the one of the two small things that or three, I guess, small things that Tully did in this match that really made it stand out to me. They're very little things, but the little things to me are what add up to make great performances and good. Uh, he doesn't just kick out. So when Barry's covering him the first time and gets a real actual near fall on him, Tully does kick out, but to kick out, he brings his knee up and fires a knee at Barry's ribs as he's
Mhm.
out. And
Yep.
Barry sells it and registers it. And it's like, that's I haven't seen anybody do that in ages. Like that's a other than they do the Roman Reigns bit where he kicks out and does the low blow at the same time. But
Mhm.
I've not really seen, other than that, this done a lot, and so that was really cool. The second time he kicks out of a big near fall, like Jenny pointed out, he rakes the eyes of Barry as he's kicking out, which again it's a small thing, but you
Mhm.
don't see a
Yes,
lot
these
of
little things.
wrestlers do that, where while in the midst of kicking out, they're not just getting their shoulder up, they're doing a move to the other guy. They're trying to hurt the other guy to let him up off the mat. And then the third thing that I thought was, again, very small but very key, especially given what you just laid out, Tim, about Tully's character, which is true, which is that he's traditionally more of a chicken shit heel than Flair. But what they do on the outside of the ring after the match, they're brawling, and at one point Barry's beating him up and sending him on his way, and then out of almost off screen almost, Tully comes flying back and throwing hands again. Tully actually re-engages the fight with Wyndham.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a standout moment, because that's something that Tully wasn't known for doing. Tully wasn't known for being the guy that was going to instigate
taking the fight. Yeah,
take the fight to the opponent if it was a fair fight. And in this case, he does. Now he gets knocked on his ass again, but he took the fight to him, and I thought that was a cool moment that shows Tully does have a little bit of fight in him, and this is a match where he's been embarrassed.
He has that little bit of fight in him. It just usually ends badly for him when it comes out.
And if I had one minor complaint about the time limit draw, I don't mind the time limit draw, especially in these TV title matches. I think it's a good weapon to use once in a while. But I think my concern was when they announce. I'm assuming the wrestlers knew this, but maybe it was just Tony saying it. But I assumed they did I thought I heard them do an announcement for it. But when they get to 30 seconds and then 10 seconds left, Barry shows no concern over that. Like to me, when like that's really when there's 30 seconds left, you should be trying to get those pins.
He needs to hustle. Yeah.
Yeah, and instead he seemed, and even to the point of knocking Tully out of the ring with 10 seconds left, well, you know that you're not going to be able to get him back in and pin him.
Dumbest thing you can do. Yeah.
You know, it's just a minor thing. It's not that important because it's still a really good match, but that's something that I would like to see in those. I like to see in those time limit situations of somebody being really desperate to get that last, get the fall or get the last fall in a fall match or whatever, and but nonetheless, still
love to see a good exchange of near falls in that last 10-second, 5-second sequence, or just a lot of desperation.
Yeah, lariat near fall, pile driver near fall, the superplex near fall, whatever it may be, or maybe superplex and then time runs out or whatever. But like something to ramp things up a little bit. But it was a really good match. The both guys' offenses looked great. Tully's selling and Barry's selling, for that matter, as babyface, both on point. JJ, great stuff at ringside. It was a very effective match, and it made me want to see them wrestle again. And I didn't look it up to see. I don't know if they did.
I did. Don't worry.
Did they have a rematch?
So they had a handful of matches. Notably, the ones I took down only because I did apparently watch them at some point in the course of the greatest WCW project we did some years ago. Now, I don't remember the details of these matches so much, but I know that I would be remiss in not pointing out from the 23rd of January, 1988, they have a match for the Western States Heritage Bullshit title. This is notable because it is from the Richmond Coliseum. Quite possibly my dad was there.
Cool.
Because he was a big Barry Windham fan. He talks about, so he very well could have been there. And I rated that 4 stars. I don't remember. I do not remember the finish, but I gave it 4 stars.
Oh shit!
So,
yeah, I think Barry won because I don't think he lost that Western Heritage State United Bullshit Championship. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have a match later in 1988 on April the 10th. That is from Main Event, so another TV match. Oh, and the January match from the Coliseum, that was from again, it used to be on the network. I think it was from just a World Championship Wrestling Saturday night. So anyway, worth going out of your way to see if you like this one, if you like seeing these two hook it up. Like I said, they also had a match on Main Event from April the 10th of '88. They had some others in here I did not get a chance to watch, but I made a note to possibly revisit because I was looking for match selections for this episode, and I almost did that one from Richmond, um, just because I wanted to watch it again, but didn't get a chance and found something that I thought was a little bit more fitting. Although I'm glad, Jenny, you gave some love to Tully and Wyndham with your choice. So
Well, I'm looking forward
good
to
stuff.
your choice because
Yeah,
it's
well, this is
a fucking
kind of a
banger.
Jenny match, right?
It
This is
kind of
kind of
is a Jenny
I
match.
kind of picked a Jenny match.
Yeah.
So you picked a Tim match, I picked
Yeah.
a Jenny match.
What are we doing?
Um, okay, so I'm gonna give you some backstory here first. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch the the little sit down match signing leading up to this.
I watched about half of it. I didn't get to finish it before we started, but
Okay, with Mr. Crockett, right? Jim
yes.
Crockett here. We've got the four horsemen assembled. Now this is the Horseman 2.0. Ole is out, Lex is in, and they're in like a conference room, right? And of course James J. Dillon is with them. And Dusty is yet to arrive, and they're getting very frustrated because apparently they've been waiting for some time. And Dillon was like, "Is he going to show? Is he not going to show?" And Tully, who has a lot of history with Dusty, again, they've had this on again, off again feud since like '84, '85, and he's like, "Well, this is what Dusty does. This is just this is a dodge. This is one of those stall tactics that he's just trying to play mind games with us."
Hmm.
And the one that popped me is Lex Luger. I guess he's just trying to get in a word to edgewise, right? He's the new kid on the block, and he goes, "Men in our position shouldn't have to tolerate this kind of delay." And they just completely talk over. They just completely keep talking over. Like he can't even like finish his thought. They're like, "How dare you speak in our presence? You speak when you are spoken to." Like they
Yeah,
just totally
Lex.
shut him. They completely shut him down. And he's like, "Men in our position should have to tolerate this."
Should not have to tolerate such inadequacies.
And so, all right. So
My mom
finally,
told me the other day that we need to go out drinking.
men in our position shouldn't have to tolerate any delays for our alcohol either. And it's just these lines at the bar. I mean, I should be hand fed shrimp while I'm waiting.
Fuck yeah.
Um, so Dusty does arrive, looking very casual as only he can.
Look at it,
And
only I can look.
now what they are doing here at this contract signing is each side is putting up 50 grand. So this is $100,000 uh, prize here at stake, in addition to the World's Television Championship again, which is around Tully Blanchard's waist. You'll notice a theme right throughout these matches. Um, and so Dusty has his cash in a sack, in just a brown grocery bag. He's brown bagging it, and he's got cold hard cash. And James J. Dillon is saying, "Look at this slob. I can't believe, this is what we're presented with. We show up looking professional, and we can't even be assured that this man has, you know, 50 grand in cash." And sure enough, Dusty just turns the sack over, dumps out just wads of cash, and they, you can't count it on the spot, but it sure looks like a lot. And it seems good enough for Dylan. He's like, "Well, all right, that's you know, th- that is a very strong visual, so I guess we'll take him at his word." And the best part of this, the stroke of genius on the part of the Horsemen, they bamboozle Jim Crockett, and they say, the only way this match is going to happen is if we get certain concessions, and we have particular demands, men in our position, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Crockett says, "Yes, I've reviewed your demands, and it's very unusual to ask for an appearance fee in addition to your regular rate for wrestling." And I understand your appearance fee. You're asking for $50,000. Coincidentally enough, they said, and this is like a scene from Dallas. Okay, the way this is playing out, the way it's shot, and the way it's old, right? This is from 1987. It just looks old and crappy, and they're in this shitty conference room. And then there's this overhead shot as Jim Crockett opens his briefcase and gets his checkbook, and he goes, I take it my check will be sufficient." Dillon says, "Oh yes, of course. It's just this is the way it's got to be." So he strokes him the check, goes, "All right, well there you go. These are your demands." And they said, "Now, all right, we see Dusty has brought his portion of the 100 grand. I assume that's $50,000 there. This is going to represent our share of the 100 grand." He just endorses the check right
Oh shit! Holy shit! What a
It's
fucking
amazing.
con artist.
He goes, that settles that. So essentially, they are giving up nothing. No part of this 50 grand will they be out of, regardless of what happens in the match, right? They
Mm-hmm.
can only come out ahead now at this point, because that's just how the Horsemen roll. And Crockett just looks disgusted, and he just says, "Well, all right, if that's how it's gonna be, you say that's how it has to be, then you really forfeited your ability to make any other demands here. So I'm going to set the time and the place, and the match is scheduled for May 23rd, 87, excuse me, this is taking place on May 23rd, 87. The match is signed for June 6th, 87 on Pro, NWA Pro. So it's going to be a TV match, televised. And that match between Dusty Rhodes and Tully Blanchard is not what I picked, but it's pretty good, and I think you should watch it before you watch what I did pick, because I'll just tell you the conclusion of this sees Dusty actually apparently pinning Tully with Tully's own move, the slingshot suplex, and gets the 3 count. Okay, Tully wins it. Oh no, no. Tully, Dusty wins it. Tully got his foot on the ropes after the 3 count, but it's enough for Tommy Young, good old Tommy Young here. I guess he's making up for his very biased officiating in the Garvin match, because he's now questioning, oh crap, did he have his foot on the rope before the 3 count, or I don't know. The match has got to continue, but amidst all this chaos, okay, James J. Dillon makes off with Dusty's 50 grand in cash that he just has in a sack. Magnum TA, who was seconding Dusty in this match, was supposed to keep guard of that, but he was distracted by Dark Journey, who was also out there on behalf of the Horsemen. So while Magnum is dealing with her, um, James J. Dillon makes off with the cash. Dusty sees this. He hightails it after. Dillon chases him clear out of the arena. Well, guess what? The match is still going on because Tommy Young never made a decision, never called for the bell, said it had to continue. He's now counting out Dusty Rhodes. So Dusty gets counted out. Tully technically gets the win in this massive injustice, right? And I tell you, Dusty gets on the house mic. He is cussing up a storm after this match. Very undusty like, but he is hot. And so after this very controversial outing, we get to what I did actually pick, guys. After all that preamble, which I think is well worth checking
It
out
is.
because it tells a great story.
Mm-hmm.
July 18th, 1987, the Charlotte Memorial Stadium, Charlotte, North Carolina. Guess what, guys? It's the Great American Bash Tour once again.
Yeah.
So we're bookending this episode with
Undoubtedly Nelson
yeah.
concert. Period.
Well, sure. I wonder if Aaron Neville was involved in any of these Bash
Oh,
touring shows as well.
and
I would hope.
you don't know if he's actually sung the national anthem or not, because you only understand like one every 3 words. The rest are spoken so softly.
So softly, so very softly. This match is not fought softly, however, because
You.
bookending our episode here with matches from Great American Bash a year apart. This is a lights out barbed wire ladder match.
Yeah, it is.
So there's a lot going on here. This is a dusty match if there ever has been one, right? All the gimmicks, we're just going to throw them all into one match. Now, notably, my understanding is the World's Television Championship is not on the line in this match. However, it is a ladder match, so you think, what must you retrieve in order to win? Well, that would be the $100,000,
Yeah.
right? So we're having a rematch. The money is on the line once again. We got to clear all this controversy up, and we're going to do it in style here in this very violent match. Um, so this is really up in the ante here after our last more straightforward wrestling match that led up to it. Our commentary is by Tony Schiavone. I'm guessing it was dubbed in post. Kind of sounds that way. It's just him solo. Um, and this time around, you've got Barry Windham in Dusty Rhodes' corner. Tully backed once again by Dillon and Dark Journey. So it's a little bit sad. The first time around, you had Magnum TA, but this was post accident for Magnum, and one of the first times people would have been seeing him back on the air. So that was probably a little bit emotional. But Barry Windham, an active wrestler, maybe gonna hopefully do a better job looking out for Dusty Rhodes' interest here. Um, and by the way, War Games itself not taking place on this particular card. So this is going to be our marquee match. This barbed wire lights out ladder match here. Um, you know, at this point, Bret Hart and Dynamite Kid have been working ladder matches in Stampede. But I mean, you guys, this is 1987,
Yeah.
Right.
7 years
Yeah.
before Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon are gonna really put that stipulation on the map, nationally.
Mm-hmm.
So not to say these a ladder match had never taken place before, but this is years and years before they're like a thing. So I don't know, kind of a big deal from that historical angle. Um, I would say as a match, this is more of a spectacle, more of a novelty than it is a lot going on. I'll be honest. It's mainly punches and kicks and a lot of
Mhm.
barbed wire teases.
Mhm.
I will say I really do like the visual of how the barbed wire is set up. Um,
Yeah.
it looks super dangerous and super badass.
It's very
Uh,
ECW.
very ECW, yeah, very ECW for you, Jenny. And I mean, you get to see Dusty fighting pretty dirty for a change, right? Against a heel who really has it coming. Once again, whatever kind of shit kicking Tully Blanchard is going to take, he deserves it. You're not going to feel bad for this dude. You can really lay it in, and they do. Uh, it's a quick match, but about 4 minutes in, both guys do get color. Um, I don't know hard way on that barbed wire. We're doing blade jobs or what here. Kind of hard to say. This is not the most pristine footage in the world, mind you. Another match that used to be on the network, but kind of hard to track down today. So again, if you want to see it, let me know. Our first real wrestling move comes in with Dusty hitting a DDT,
Yep.
um, kind of towards the end of the match,
A really
but
interesting ET
an
too.
interesting version of it too, where he
Yeah.
kind of lays out flat. Yeah,
Yeah. He
I
kind of
don't
laid flat on his stomach while driving him down from
the Dusty DDT, if you will.
yeah.
Now here's where Greg, your black glove is going to come into play. Tully retrieves this black glove, which I can only assume it has to be a coal miner's glove, right? I mean,
God help me if it's not a coal miner's glove.
It better
I
be.
mean, it's
God
a
damn it.
black glove. It's used to gain an offensive advantage. It must be the
It
coal miner's glove. The coal miner's glove.
Yes, because as we all know, coal miners regularly punched each other with these gloves back in the
To great effect, yes.
yes. It was over. It was lights out for the opponent. So
Well, it's a lights out match. So, and it's not enough to have barbed wire and ladders and blood. You got to have a coal miner's glove now.
that's right. That's the one thing that's more dangerous than the barbed wire. Is the coal
Yeah.
miner glove. Damn it.
Yeah, right. So, all right, it's a ladder match. We're not doing a lot of high spots, okay? These guys are not doing swantons off the ladder. Spoiler, I hate to break
Oh,
it to you, but
Dusty did. That would have been great.
he does like a fucking 450 off the Tully does a Phoenix splash.
That's one of those things on the wrestling games back in the day where when I was a kid, when I would create the big giant fat wrestler that was 500 pounds and have him do like shooting star presses and stuff.
I would do the opposite, where I'd have like Rey Mysterio gorilla press slam the Big Show out of the ring like a Royal Rumblers. So anyway, we do have some climbing spots. At the end of the day, you still have to climb the damn ladder. But it's more like the ladder is being offensively used as a weapon. It's not a lot of risky, like we're gonna take a lot of falls from the top of a ladder here.
Now, having not seen a lot of the Stampede ladder matches, was this the first appearance of the slow climb?
It can't be.
Given the fact that Brett and Dynamite are working those Stampede matches, how slow are they going to be going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this may be slow by necessity because, look, it's Dusty Rhodes climbing the ladder.
True, but I noticed Tully when he makes his ladder.
Bless his heart, but it is Dusty Rhodes, right? It's
also I think they were making it harder on themselves because I hope I'm not mistaken. I think this was a regular ladder you get from Home Depot. So
it looked like a rickety. It looks like the ladder I've got, in my garage right now.
They kept climbing the opposite side. They kept climbing the non-climbing side.
Yeah.
Well,
is there a non-climbing side to the ladder?
There's the side that has like.
There is to this utility type ladder, this yellow Home Depot ladder that they're using. Yeah. There is definitely one side you are not meant to climb. You can try, but it's not like the double-sided WWE ladder match.
No. The whole time Dusty's climbing, I'm praying that the rungs are not going to break under him.
They do have a weight limit, and it is slower than you would think. So
it was. Wasn't there? I know this is off topic, but wasn't there a WCW late era ladder match where Scott Hall either he was wrestling somebody and they did it, or he did it, where like the ladder, like the rungs of the ladder broke.
The rungs broke. Yeah, it was gimmick,
shit.
but it was actually. I think it was. You know what? It was a rematch between Benoit and Jarrett from.
Oh.
Didn't they have that match at Starrcade?
That's right, Starrcade. Yep.
Which Benoit won. But then they had a rematch, and this was after the NWO Black and Silver formed, which took all of about a week. So they gimmicked the ladder. So when Benoit tried to climb, the rungs just shattered. They just completely. It was like it was made of glass or something. It was So that's how he lost the title back to Jerry.
Oh God.
But
this is a. Even the fact that it was a more early stages ladder match, in some ways it was just as or more dangerous because they didn't know what they were doing. Like they
didn't know what the hell they're doing. Yeah, they're like, what in the hell? And there's fucking barbed wire. It's like there's just a lot going on here. So we do get a pretty cool finish where it looks like Tully's got Dusty on the ropes. He's climbed the ladder. He's made a good way up there, and Dusty hits patented Dusty Rhodes drop kick to the ladder to knock Tully down. Again, it's not the most death-defying fall, but it's something.
It's a big bump.
And then it's a big bump. For good measure, he's going to wipe Tully out with that coal miner's glove. I love how kind of in the background, there's so much going on. you just casually see Wyndham like choking out James
It's
Dillon.
still-
It's like choking him from the
That was great.
fucking canvas. So Dusty is then able to make the climb, retrieves the sack. He's got his money back
Nice.
and is 50 grand richer because remember he put up a portion of he put up half of it too. So
Yeah.
his net gain $50,000. Cool stuff. Again, it's one of those. I mean, you kind of have to see it because it's a 1987 ladder match. So
Yeah.
why would you not want to check that out?
Yep.
But don't go in thinking you're gonna see like, come on.
They're not using the ladder,
Uh,
and they're not. It's about climbing the ladder and getting the money. And
yeah, and it's a
Mhm.
quickie get in get out kind of match.
the
So
barbed wire is the weapon. Yeah. So
the
yeah,
barbed wire is sort of the
and it's
that's
like a 9-minute match or something. But it's like that's why if they had gone 15 or 20, it probably would have gotten boring. But like it never did to me. It was interesting the whole time because
Mhm.
even as immobile as Dusty was at that point in his career, it was Dusty. He still has this charisma about him, and
yeah.
you still you want to see the elbow and you want to see him rub Tully's face in the barbed wire and Tully's going, oh God, no, 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 and it's really that it's just old fashioned Southern brawling. It was I enjoyed it quite a bit, and seeing Tully in a different element, street clothes, both of them a come as you are match, I believe,
Right.
back in the day.
Yeah, they're in jeans. They're in like flannel.
Yeah.
They do have some knee pads on. You got to have some padding, and you got to tape those fists up, man.
Tully's got a bandana wrapped around his neck for some reason, and it's good shit, and it's representative of the time, and again, great brawling. They know how to throw punches. They know how to they've worked with each other hundreds of times at this point, so they know what they're gonna do, and they don't know their way around the ladder very much because it's new, but they don't need to. It's about climbing it and getting the briefcase. Well, look at me, I'm fast forwarding 30 years. Getting the money, and at that point, like I feel like that should be tax free. I mean,
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you
why
know,
wouldn't it be?
look, the man just went through a barbed wire coal miner's glove ladder lights out match. They ought to not take any taxes out of that. Come on, he paid
there's
the
got to be some way forward. It almost counts as a gift because each party is giving it up,
right.
not in the form of income, but and you can't put a like a yeah, I can't imagine what kind of tax you would put on this.
Right. Yeah. By the way, I thought it was hilarious when JJ tries to get in there and then when
Mhm.
flies in there and just starts choking the life out of him. That was awesome.
Plus,
Thank you. I tried to cover that, but that did not work.
no problem.
So recently I watched a ladder match with Dusty Rhodes in it from TNA, from
Oh
2003.
my.
Oh wow.
And Dusty Rhodes, when he climbed his ladder, what he did was he pulled out a tiny little step ladder.
Mm.
And look, I just watched this yesterday. So then when I'm watching this Dusty Rhodes ladder match, I'm like, this is much more what I want to see. Um, Even though that was pretty funny what he did with the little tiny step ladder. But this is barbed wire and fucking Tully climbing real slow. It was kind of hilarious. But it's a fucking fight though. They are like
Yeah.
when they're in the ring, they're fighting. Um, and and I like Barry coming in to help Dusty out. Um, I really like just the idea of a bag of money just hanging from the ring
Yes.
or from above the ring. Like that's great. I was watching the last Money in the Bank uh, show with my mom, and she's like, "Well, how much money's in the briefcase?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
"There ain't no money in the
Well,
briefcase." She's like, "Well, fuck. What are
yeah,
we doing?"
you see, it's a contract, and the
It's like,
contract
it's
gives
a
the ability to
promise.
possibly make a lot of money by winning the championship if you win it.
And she's like, why not put money in it?
Y-
And I said,
Oh,
that's a fucking great idea. We should definitely do more money based matches. I'm
yeah.
Yeah.
definitely into that idea. So you're combining the ladder match, the barbed wire, and the fucking purse. And Dusty Rhodes and Tully Blanchard.
It's such
Absolutely.
because it's such a tangible, I mean, cold hard cash, right? Who
Yeah.
doesn't love that? It's such a tangible and universally appealing kind of thing that everybody can get on board. I know, I get that the Money in the Bank has its place, and yeah,
Mm,
you've got the briefcase, but
mm.
The
at
con-
the end of the day, it's like, what are you trying to get across? The symbolic promise of a future title change that somebody is
which really
winning. Like, it's just a weird idea.
it
It
Like,
used
I mean,
is.
it
to be
works, but
We
it's
need
sort
to
of like,
change it.
what's the cool visual aspect
right.
to it?
It used to
It's
be like
like,
a guaranteed thing of this person's going to be the next champion at some point.
yeah,
And now it's not really that anymore either.
it's
So
not even that, right?
I don't know. But yeah, the money thing they could do. Do you remember all those years ago on Raw when they gave away McMahon's millions to like a
Mm-hmm.
call?
Uh-huh.
Just take that money and put it in a briefcase or a sack.
Put it in a
Actually, I
Hmm.
briefcase.
that
I
briefcase.
like the sack
Hang
too.
hang it above the ring. Have the ladder match, and then while the guys are in the and have like, everybody says you need to have a smaller Money in the Bank match. I say expand it, 12
Hmm.
guys, and then once they're all in
Shit.
the ring going for the ladder, then you have a crew come out and put barbed wire around the ropes.
Yeah.
So then
Mm-hmm.
you're guaranteed you're going to have a bunch of guys falling. Ricochet's going to do his thing, and he's going to fall on the barbed wire.
It's gonna
Jesus
be
Christ.
awesome.
Yeah,
I'm sold.
and you got to, and then and I got it even better. If you really want to tap into the TNA market, you have the bag of money fall off of the thing midway through the match, and then you got to add scramble for
Then it
thing.
turned into a scramble match.
Yeah, gosh, I should
I
be the
like it.
of some company.
You should.
God. Yeah, that's
But this
amazing.
is a great match. Like it's just awesome. Like
Dusty's
It was
charisma
fun.
just can't be uh can't be explained because he's not
it cannot.
obviously he's not doing a lot in this match, but it's the fact that he's got this presence, this aura about him that you can't really take your eyes off of him even if he's not doing anything. It's incredible the
Well, and
presence.
this is summer of '88. Neither one of these guys is going to be around the NWA much longer. Um,
This is the end
going
of Dusty's run, really.
going their separate ways. And like I said, this is kind of end of the road for Tully Blanchard. I mean, for both of them as active
Yeah.
wrestlers. I mean, Tully's going to get a few more, a little bit more time in with Arn and the Brainbusters, but he's
And
effectively
yeah,
done after that WWF stint, that cup of coffee really that they have. But I kind of like this as a neat little capper to that long running feud between Dusty and Tully that saw so many matches over the years, so many stips, and they go out with a bang, I would say.
yeah, I would say so too. And Dusty gets the polka dot run in the WWF, but this is the end of like Dusty as the guy. Like Dusty
Yeah.
as the featured attraction, if you will. Really, you could argue he was already out because Luger's the main event that year. But like, this was his last stretch of Dusty being the featured attraction for major live events, and then it becomes he's just a guy in the WWF.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a nice swan song for these guys here. And Tully would go after this. Tully would pretty much be exclusive tag team, I believe, mostly through the end of his Crockett run, and then going into WWF, of course, in a tag team. So,
hmm
this is one of the last hurrahs of him as a singles act.
I'm really glad that
Yeah.
all of us kind of stayed away from the tag matches.
Yeah,
Even though, like, I feel like most people that's what they think of Tully as, it's a tag wrestler. But I really hope that some might be encouraged to seek him out as singles.
agreed. Because I think he's always gotten a little bit short shrifted because he was a
Mm,
great tag team with Arn, and Arn wrestled for so much longer. Like
mm-hmm.
Arn was still a
Yep.
star well into the mid '90s, and so most people of our generation grew up watching Arn more. But like Tully, if like that's why I wanted to do that Steamboat match when we did that episode, because that was one of the first watching clips online when I first got online and was seeing wrestling matches downloading through LimeWire or whatever. That was one of the first Tully singles matches that I had seen, at least since I was very, very, very young, and I was blown away. And I'm like, God, this guy was great. And yeah, he a great wrestler. And plus, like I said, I'm sure that at some point we will visit Arn and Tully as a tag team for an episode. Given my
We've
love,
done one. We have done one, a really good one. That title change that they had at Clash of the first Clash of the
oh, that's
Champions
right,
Right.
with Luger and
Wyndham.
Wyndham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talked about that on our covered that on our Barry Windham episode.
Wyndham, yeah,
Too long ago.
stays at
So
Wyndham.
yeah, that's the only other time you mentioned the Steamboat match that was on our Ricky Steamboat episode.
Yep.
But those are the only other times that we've covered a Tully Blanchard match on the show. So
I almost went with
yeah,
Lee and Arn versus Nikita and Sting.
I did too from Bash 88.
88, yep. But
I did too. I came real close to picking that.
we do a tag team episode in the future, we'll have to include that one. But yeah, it's just a great talent, and I'm glad that I hope anyway that maybe some people will give some Tully matches a watch if they haven't seen them before, or if they had seen them when they were younger and didn't appreciate him, kind of revisit him and see what he has to offer.
Awesome. Yeah. Well said. Well, I have actually named all of my honorable mentions for this one. Did you
Nice.
guys have any other matches you were just on the verge of perhaps picking?
Not me. Not this time.
No, the Nikita one, and then there was it's a house show match, but there is footage of it on YouTube. The Midnight Express versus Tully and Arn, title change from Philadelphia, I believe it was, and
Yeah, that's the big one.
and there was another Tully singles, another one against Garvin that was on Worldwide that I almost included. Those were kind of the ones that stood
Yep.
out
Mm-hmm.
as the ones that I all thought about picking, but ultimately I went with this one because I was curious to watch it. I'd never seen it before, and turned out good.
That it did.
So whose turn is it in the wheel of picks?
All right. Well, it's not me because I picked this one.
Who was our last episode?
That's a great question. Was it
Was it
uncensored?
uncensored? I think it was uncensored.
I couldn't remember if there was one in between there, but I guess.
Uncensored was March, and so might have been, yeah. Well, I don't know, April. I don't know. We did Steamboat at some point.
Hang on. Steamboat was before uncensored. I'm gonna figure this out.
This is great that we remember our own work. So
I know it's great. It's great radio too. I mean, this is what the listeners love.
this is what people want. If there's one thing I've learned from sports talk radio over the years, is this is what people want.
Mm-hmm.
My internet just cut out, so I missed that. What did we decide?
We were
nothing. We're just still figuring out
Okay.
right now.
what the hell we're doing.
We're I told Wahoo that I couldn't find out what episode we did. I didn't remember.
I think was Piper our last one.
Oh, you may be right. It may have been WCW Roddy Piper.
It sure looks that way.
I think that's correct.
Yes, that sounds right. So I think that means it's Jen's turn, or did she pick Piper?
No, I picked uncensored.
Well, then it's your turn again. Yep.
It's my turn again. Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, I've been curious about this guy in WCW for a minute. Not really sure what match quality we're going to look at, but I really just feel like I need to know more about Sid Vicious.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Well, it seems like a good choice. So.
Yes. I'm not talking about match quality. That video, Big E says, you want to talk about your 5-star matches? You want to talk about your in-ring work rate classics? Bump that. I want to talk about Sid.
Well, that's what we'll do then. We'll see what we can come up with for some
master and the ruler of the world.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know you were a big Sid guy, Greg.
I've been a Sid guy since I was about 8 years old.
Oh,
Now,
shit.
admittedly, I can't name you probably 5 or 6 Sid matches I ever liked, but it was his just. You want to talk about a guy who had aura? I wanted
Yeah.
to see him come in and just squash dudes. That's all I wanted to see. I wanted to see Sid come out, squash dudes, cut his promos that were sometimes great, sometimes horrible, but always 100% entertaining. Uh, One of the most bizarre individuals in wrestling. Just they don't make them like Sid anymore. They just don't.
Well, what if we opened it up a bit? I mean, you can say no, but what if we included like promos?
Promos?
Like,
I was about to say, might be better served by just making
just,
promos.
I mean, we could throw a squash in there if we want, but like, if we want to talk Sid promos, we can include that.
If we don't,
I mean,
we can't. First of all, it was going to happen anyway because we can't do a Sid episode and not talk about him jumping on the cube that Goldberg has turned his car in and screaming Goldberg,
and screaming why. Yeah.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Oh
We'll do
God,
that
this
then.
is
If
amazing.
if ever we were gonna get a little creative in our format, I think you'd have to with a Sid. So you know
All
I
right.
what?
can
Good.
Just
I can come up with a
I've
couple.
already broken all my rules when it comes to this show, so it's
Yes,
as far as I'm concerned, it's a free for all. Like
yes, and I can come up with a Sid match for sure. He had a couple in WCW that were memorable for various reasons. And remember, we don't always have to pick good matches.
no, we
So,
don't.
Very true.
That's not a rule. It never has been.
yes. So I am stoked. I am so stoked. This is great.
All right. Good.
Oh man.
Tim, what do you got for plugs?
Oh wow. Okay, so the show you're listening to, if you like more wrestling content from me and from Jenny, we do a show called PTB NXT on this very same podcast network with our dear friend Jacob Williams. So that comes out about the same frequency as this podcast. So look for that, if you will, going chronologically through NXT in the network era. We're about at the midpoint in 2015. I'm not gonna lie, kind of a doldrums period for me. I don't know how other people
Mhm.
necessarily feel about the content we have coming up, but a little bit apprehensive. Just gonna say.
Well, this is the in between period between the Sami Zayn era and the Johnny Gargano and such era, right?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So you've got some
Mhm.
Samoa Joe coming up. You got some, I guess, Bobby Roode. Um,
Finn Balor, right?
some Nakamura in there. Yeah, Finn has been around for a minute, so we're gonna definitely see some more of him. But yeah, it's gosh, about a year and a half long period. I feel like before the Gargano Champa stuff really heats up.
Yep.
And speaking from that, like their arrival as like a tag
Tag
team right
team.
on through that's going to be a while still down the line. But anyway,
Still the
I
peak NXT story for me, I think.
uh, easily, yeah, no doubt.
Maybe
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah,
I have to think. But yes, that's good stuff. Once you get there.
we will do our best. I also do a comics podcast on our sister network, PlayStation Nation Pop. It's called Traders of the Lost Arcs, where we being myself, Sean Kidd, Scott Shiflett, and Andy Atherton, who is just reading some comics for the first time, and for the most part enjoying them, I think. Um, it's basically where we just read and review some old comics, not super old necessarily. Our last outing was just from 2016, a little anthology 6 issue series called Harley's Little Black Book. The Harley in question being Harley Quinn. So if you like that character and you like DC team ups, check the episode out. Some pretty cool stories there, and some cool art as well. Different artists each issue, which we all really dug. Um, so yeah, that is Traders of the Lost Arcs monthly on PlayStation Nation Pop. And lastly, I have a television centric podcast that is called 9021 No So. So a spinoff from the North-South Connection 9021 No So. It's its own thing, its own feed. So just search in your preferred podcatcher app 9021 No So. Me and JT Rosero reviewing episode by episode Beverly Hills 90210. We're up to like episode 20 in the second season, you guys.
Wow.
Which it sounds kind of accomplished, and it is, but these episode counts per season start to creep up on us.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, I think, so we had 22 episodes in the first season. I think it's 28 episodes here in the second season, so we're still closing in on the end. But season 3, you got 30 episodes. And then from there out, it's like 32 episodes a season.
Have you gotten to the peach
That
pit
is a
of the gin blossoms yet?
oh no. That will not be until like season, gosh, 6-ish, I
Oh,
want
wow.
to say.
Late into
5 or 6. Yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of a whole lot of early 90s music that we're not hearing, of course, because we're watching this on
Right.
streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
But we are taking note of and tracking what the actual songs they play in the episodes are. That's one of our segments. So yeah, I mean, how many times are you gonna rock out to "Losing My Religion"? I guess. But good stuff. From REM, the official soundtrack to seasons 1 through 3 of Beverly Hills 90210. I'm rambling. You can find me on X Twitter. I am Psych68, CYKE68 for now. I haven't deleted it yet. I keep threatening to because X, what are we doing? Like, just no. Greg, do you have anything to promote?
No, just
Put out to the world?
Yeah, to me, it's still Twitter because I haven't updated my phone or my apps. So my Twitter is at gphillips8652. Same as always. I have no recorded projects coming in the pipeline of which I'm aware, but
Of which you're aware. Okay.
always keeping a lookout. And well, you never know with AI and all that, people can manipulate my voice.
Okay. I like that.
Controversial takes on things, so you never know. Some people could accuse me of being a fan of the Young Bucks, and I wouldn't want that to be a thing.
Forbid.
But no, that's it for me. Just watching a lot of wrestling, and yeah. So.
Okay, I don't know if this is working because my internet is in and out, so I don't know if anybody can hear me or what's happening.
Yep, we hear you.
Great. So I'm on Twitter at Jenny Position. My show's on Wednesdays. I have a new show called Linking Up Luchas going through Lucha Underground. So that's fairly new. There's 2 episodes of that. Anything I do is linked on that Twitter, so follow me there and you'll find me. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.